Well, hello everyone once again. I want to bring you up to speed on some of the things that happened during the month of August. July, as you know, was an exceptionally busy month with our national conference as well as the TOS conference. We showed you some of that in our last blog. August was something of a sleeper in many ways. It's a time when we have a little bit of downtime here, particularly with the staff, and for me it was much less busy month than what I've become accustomed to here lately. Welcome to. So this month, the beginning of the month, shortly after our conference here, I went out to Indralaya, and that's our camp out in Orcas Island, out in Puget Sound in the northwest. A real gem and a beauty. You've seen some of the pictures of it from previous blogs, but this year, probably the focus of what I'm going to be giving you is Indralaya. Took a lot of good pictures, and you can really get a sense for the place. Next month, I'll be doing a similar thing for Pumpkin Hollow, which is our theosophical camp and retreat center in New York State, about 3-4 hours outside of New York City. I was there at the beginning of September, I'm already doing this blog, and I've already been there. But I'll give you some pictures of that in our next one. The other thing you'll be seeing is our staff picnic, which annually is organized by Mark Remick and his wife Kim. It's a time when we just all go out and eat and talk and generally play bocce. And for those of you who don't know what bocce is, come for a picnic sometime. So anyway, let's get the ball rolling with Indralaya. The trip over to Orcas Island, where Indralaya is located, is on the ferry, and you go through the beautiful San Juan Islands. When you get there, the main building where lunch and a lot of the programs take place, they've recently installed solar energy panels, which are doing a wonderful job in maintaining the electricity for the building. Every morning we would have meditation in the library. A number of us would be there. It's a beautiful space overlooking the sound, the bay there. And then we would have breakfast, and we would gather shortly after for my part of the program, which was the discussion portion, which would always take place in the field, normally under the apple trees. There's this particular spot where Dora Kuntz used to always sit and hold the meetings, and we would do it there, except on those times when it was too many people. All ages were there and all sorts of positions of comfort in order to listen and to talk. And a lot of good ideas, a lot of laughter, a lot of things were exchanged during the course of that time outdoors. Mainly ideas about the spiritual life and how we can make it function in our normal world. What you had, though, was a lot of very, very sharp people who had given a lot of consideration to this over a lifetime. And so some very profound discussions were held during this circle, but probably even more so during those times when we would just be off talking to ourselves. But it was a wonderful opportunity for that sort of insight. So food was a big part of everything. Here you see some of the girls getting ready for a Chinese meal that was being cooked that evening, and they're preparing the egg rolls along with Lily, my wife, and my daughter there, Angelique. But all of the staff were volunteers, and this year the cook was Megan, and she was designing all of the meals, and a great deal of the food came right out of the garden. So every day, every meal, we were having something that was grown right there and turned into a meal within hours of the time that it actually came out of the ground or off of the branch. So that was a big part of every single day. And the food, I have to say, was top flight. Last time I was there, first time for me doing a jigsaw puzzle, but they broke one out and everybody kind of contributed to the process. I can claim that I probably was responsible for at least 10 of the pieces out of the 1,000 that comprised this particularly complicated puzzle. But what seemed complicated to me was like nothing to some of these kids. So I don't get it, but I'm glad that they can see things in the way that they do. But we ended up finishing it before the time ended, and there you see. So also during the day, after lunch, there was time for work parties, and the variety of projects were undertaken. Everything from tearing down a complete cabin to rebuild another one. I got involved with the project of building a greenhouse in the garden. The idea is that they would be able to use it to start things off early. So here you see Alec, Emlyn, Mary, and Michael, who did the design. So it was a fairly straightforward project that was taking place in the garden. Here's some of the flowers that are in the garden, and some of these particular flowers are edible. For instance, these are nasturtiums, and they figured prominently in some of the meals that we had as decoration and as food. So I actually am no stranger to hard work and physical work, so it was a joy for me to be able to take part in this. Part of this whole thing of being president of the Theosophical Society has meant that my hands have gotten a little softer than I like. So me and Emlyn were up on top of this building putting rafters in place, and got a chance to work with a crew of people that was really a joy to work with. Michael was the designer and our head guy that we would always turn to. But all of us were lifting boards. I got a chance to screw some screws, cut some wood, climb up on top of the building. I mean, for me, it was really a wonderful, wonderful occasion and a nice switch. Other projects that were undertaken were Dora Kuntz's cabin was rehabbed. Here you see Leonie Van Gelder, who was actually Dora's niece. She's pointing for something for me to do. Leonie is one of the camp managers along with her husband Minor, and they're involved in pretty much everything that goes on there at the camp. But a whole variety of things were undertaken and really made it the complete experience that we had there. So it wasn't all work, it wasn't all thought, it was also play. And a large part of the play was the evening volleyball game. And, this is theosophists and people with theosophical leanings, but let me tell you, you get on that volleyball court and people get awfully serious about that game. So we had some very good volleyball matches, and we had spectators. People would come up every evening and just line the sides and basically cheer everybody on. But we had some mighty jousts while we were there. A lot of downtime during which people pursued a host of different things. Everything from art to just conversation to just craziness. So here we have the kids bagging themselves up in sweatshirts. One evening we actually had a dance, and we had one of the DJs there who had some, really, really good dance playlist, one that seemed to hit all age groups. So a whole bunch of people left the floor in a sweat. And of course, just time to sit and talk and compare notes on a host of different things. Every evening, there was a campfire, which was campfire and performance. So a whole lot of different sorts of performance. Music was every night, but then there was some theater games, and there was just everything you could imagine. It was hosted by Nick Torin, who is 19 years old and was the most funny and just an excellent MC night after night. And we had an awful lot of talent in the crowd. After that, we would go and often have some snacks. This is Rolf Eriksson, who has been involved with the Theosophical Society, and particularly with Indralaya for a long, long time. Terry Simons, who came down from Canada for the program, and other things like this. I never did quite get the hang of it, but they sure did. So tell me there wasn't some talent. Here you have the Bullock sisters, Susan and Mary. They're no longer Bullocks, but they are still sisters. And just some of the, just a view of some of the faces of some of the people who were there. So many times, just all of the different generations interacting. For me, it was a wonderful time because it was a chance for my daughter and wife and I to get away there and just spend some time in that atmosphere, which really, it's a family atmosphere. The whole idea of the program, it's called Connections, and it happens every year. And it connects all of the different generations with the camp, with the work, and with the life. Some of these families, you have 4 generations who are involved with this, with the camp and with the program. So it was really just something that is a model for me of really a healthy way to live and a healthy approach to our own spiritual unfoldment. It's not just about reading. It's not just about meditating. There is a complete way to approach it. Toward the end of the month, we had our annual staff picnic, which is every year is organized by Mark Remick and his wife, Kim. This time we went to a beautiful nature preserve not too far from here and gathered to eat, to talk, to tell stories and the things that people do at picnics. Also, part of the tradition is game of bocce. So bocce is that game where you toss the ball out there and you try and throw the ball closest to it. So we had some great competitions, apparently. This year I was not one of the competitors since my arm was a little bit injured. So it was a beautiful time, and it's been a wonderful month. Nice to have a little bit of a slowdown. So I hope you enjoyed it, and look forward to seeing you and talking to you next month.